We are now looking in channels of jihadist Syrian groups, including Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria. They believe in a worldwide jihad, and they are calling for a donation for their purposes. It's like a shop. If you want to equip a jihadist with an AK-47, so please donate, let's say, $400.
The Ibn Taymiyyah Media Center is basically a collection of jihadist groups that are in Gaza. And I came across them when there were reports that this media center was posting on Twitter a fundraising campaign. They called Jahizona, basically equip us. The campaign was to raise money for weapons, rockets, guns, grenades for their fighters. Bitcoin is an innovation that the financial system has never seen before, where you could transact across borders without a third party, without a bank, without anyone in the middle. So we looked at it, and to our surprise, we were able to see that they had graphics posting the rockets that they wanted, how much they would cost, how much they were seeking to equip a fighter, about $2,500. And lo and behold, there was a QR code where you can donate Bitcoin. When it comes to Hezbollah, there's a hand-in-glove relationship between organized crime, criminal networks, cartels in South America in particular, and Hezbollah. Hezbollah sees itself sort of as a resistance group. They have this image that they present as they're fighting against Israel and they're protecting Lebanon. Now, how do they get involved in organized crime?
وشعارنا الذي رفعناه ولا نخشى أن نكرره في كل عام الموت لأمريكا.
Years ago, one of their religious leaders said that it was okay to participate in the drug trade if it's to give drugs or to sell drugs to non-Muslims, so Europe and the US or wherever, South America. So they found a very mutually beneficial partnership with cartels. Key is how do you move the money? How do you move the drugs? Hezbollah has been able to really leverage its network very well to do this.
And what do they get out of it?
So what do they get? They get money. Money for weapons, rockets, guns, grenades.
Hezbollah is a major drug trafficking organization. They facilitate the flow of narcotics into the United States.
My work has been the Venezuelan threat in the United States or in the region. Basically, Hezbollah, Iran, drugs trade, and corruption. In the context of the Venezuelan-Iran relationship, we found a person like Tarek al-Assami. He was one of the loyalist person to Hugo Chavez, and Hugo Chavez named him Minister of Interior.
His family immigrated to Venezuela, associated with radical Islamic causes, and the word got out that he was distributing identification cards to thousands of people of Middle Eastern background. This drew some suspicion.
He started producing Venezuelan passport for Islamic terrorists linked to Hezbollah. Tarek al-Assami's sister was named ambassador of Venezuela in the Netherlands, in The Hague.
Señor Presidente,
And that allowed her to establish the relationship between the Hezbollah network in Europe with what they built in Venezuela. Hezbollah take all those shipments of drugs coming from Venezuela through the port of Rotterdam in the Netherlands, through diplomatic channels and through diplomatic cover. And they moved the drugs into the European market. They distributed and they raised money to finance their terrorist operation, not only against Israel, but around the world.
We are now looking in Telegram channel of a pro-jihadist Indonesian organization called El Aziz Muwahidin. and it describes itself as a charity organization intended to collect money and provide aid to mujahideen, to jihadists who are imprisoned in Indonesia and their families. And its posts are circulated among ISIS supporters in groups and channels. So when I see these kind of things, I always suspect that this money could go to another terrorist activities, not only just helping orphans and widows.
Charities are tailor-made for terrorist financing because there are no real strict rules on the dissemination of funds. Charities are not businesses. They don't get audited in these foreign countries. Go to Pakistan, they're gonna say, okay, where'd that 10 bucks go? I mean, it just goes. It doesn't always go to the people it's supposed to. Whether it's going to the Islamic jihadists or whether it's going to some gangsters.
Give yourselves a very warm round of applause for showing up today and being part of our reflection on 10 years of service to humanity.
This is the mentality of the Muslim. We're not here to serve ourselves. Allah made us a nation for the service of humanity.
Islamic Relief Worldwide, first of all, they denied the charges, said that we're not guilty. We will now do an audit to prove to you. And then a few months later, they said we did an audit, and the auditors said we're clean. We tried to find out the name of the auditors, completely secret information, classified. The audit itself was never published. This organization says we're clean. That was not enough for some of the banks that they do business with. We're talking about an organization with over $1 billion in revenues each year. And some of the banks said, we are going to close this account because if this organization is involved in terrorism, we could be held liable.